typical kind of intro to our live tapings, and then we'll have a special guest from FASHIONPHILE to join us on stage. But let's get into it. Today's topic, you all, is dreaming out loud. Turn to your neighbor and say, dreaming out loud. Dreaming out loud. I'm sure we all know something about that.
So how's your fashion week going?
We got a little bit of feedback. Let me come this way. All right. How's my fashion week been? My whole body looks like it needs some bio-freeze. A little bit of lidocaine, a nice massage of my feet I would love right now, but I left Bay at home, so hopefully that will happen soon. But fashion week has been amazing, and for me it's always about the kiki. It's seeing my colleagues here, the sisterhood, the tribe, the smiling beautiful faces. If I don't go to anything, I don't get invited to anything, that's immaterial. If I'm around my people, that's where I want to be. So great.
Yeah. It's so funny. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So since we've been friends, you've gone to a lot of fashion weeks.
I have.
And I've never come. And I was saying to my husband this morning, it's like going to a conference that you weren't invited to. You're kind of trying to figure it out. You're like, who are all these people? Where's the plenary session? You know. But it's been so interesting because this is part of your life that I'm just not part of. So thank you for welcoming me in.
Thanks for being here. I feel a lot more centered when you're around. I also have a lot more electrolytes. I got a lot more bone broth.
Not only you, I mean my friend Danielle who rode the train with me yesterday got all the snacks.
Yes, and you have good ones. I have rice crackers for breakfast. So thank you. So this is going to be, y'all, what we call a party with a purpose. It's like everybody wants to have a good time, but if you're here, you understand that our podcast also is unapologetically feminist. Okay. We talk about the things around social justice and what it truly means to be a big age.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of big age, you know, we talk about all the things, right? We talk about joy, we talk about grief, we talk about highs, we talk about lows, we talk about quitting, we talk about working, right? All of the things. And this week, I experienced 3 real big age things, all kind of within 48 hours. On Tuesday, I slammed myself in the eye with my sunglasses, so I got a busted eye.
Which they fixed. Nobody even saw it, okay? Makeup artists, amen.
Tuesday, I'm just trying to get my day straight. Wednesday, I dropped my children off for their first full day of school. Hallelujah. And I got a muscle spasm crossing the street. So I literally couldn't walk home.
Yeah. Sorry, friend. I'll share my bio-freeze with you.
And this morning in the cab, I spilled an entire iced coffee on myself.
No, this is fashion week at a big age. That's just what it is, okay? I saw Mary J. Blige last night.
I know.
And then I saw Tunde from Peloton. And I was passed out. And then I went next door to Alice and Olivia, and I saw Paris Hilton. Wow. And I said, Paris, oh my God, your advocacy, I saw the documentary, I love it. And she's like, oh my God. I said, oh my God, stop. She said, I love you. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's amazing. So, and I remember I texted Frank, and Frank was like, Tashira, that is way too many personalities for you to have met in 10 minutes. Bitch. Like, you need to go and just take a breather. So.
Well, I believe you. I mean, normally I don't believe you when you say this. But I do believe you, and I still don't understand.
Yeah, I me either, but you know, we are right where we're supposed to be.
So, yes. So this is our first big event back. We took a little break, and we dropped our first episode of the season last Monday. Thank you all for watching, listening. But how was your summer?
I mean, a lot happened.
turn black this summer?
When did I turn black, as Trump asked Kamala? Trump said, I don't know, she just turned black. She turned black. Black jobs, black population.
I don't know, you're just, all of a sudden, you're like black.
Yeah, so since 1981 at gestation, and 82 when I came out,
You could say 1982.
yeah, 82 for sure I have been just black and unapologetically black. And so that brings us into just what's been going on politically. How do y'all feel about Kamala being the Democratic nominee for president? People, we expect nothing less. What about you, friend? How do you feel now?
I feel terrified.
Tell us why.
Because there's no question in my mind who the stronger, more compassionate, thoughtful, smarter, competent candidate is. It's actually not a question that should even be asked, given what we're confronted with. And so the fact that it's at all a question makes me very nervous. And we've been here before.
But we haven't indeed been here before. We've always gotten to the other side of it.
That's
so
true.
We'll talk about what it means to be resilient and what it means to have been fighting the same liberation struggle, in my opinion. And for black folks, I always say this, since we were brought here in chains, since our enslavement, it's been the same liberation struggle. It just takes different iterations, different hues, different tones, different tenors. Sometimes we're at the height of like revolutionary fights, and sometimes, it's a little bit reform, just get on with the get along. And so what I hope happens is no matter who is the president, we are able to like keep the fire going so that it's not just in movement building times that we remember how important it is to fight.
I also think there's something very powerful about just being supportive of someone who's strong and not having to love everything about them.
It's true.
And I think we've talked about this a lot, just between the two of us, particularly on the left. There's a lot of concerns about some of Vice President Harris's law enforcement involvement things. And we don't have to sleep with her.
No, we don't. Yep, absolutely not, especially when we know what we are up against. So the debate is coming up soon. Are y'all tuning in? Yes. All right, and we will make sure that we have an episode post-debate.
Absolutely.
Just to bring everything down. Feel free to DM us. Don't forget to follow justUS on IG. And let us know what topic you want us to jump into around what's happening repeat election. We don't have much time, y'all. So y'all ready? Yeah. We're about to get it. We're going to make this happen.
Okay, so before we kind of dive deep into our interview, one question.
Sure.
What's a fear you've had to overcome to achieve your biggest dreams? So maybe just, a little justice right for the morning.
So everyone knows I am a public crier, so the tears might flow. But let me just say, as we were developing the outline, the thing I thought about was my biggest fear was one around relationships, and I believe that I was bad at relationships. And it was because of my time in an abusive relationship. And so what I took from that is that, I don't choose good partners, or I can't trust my gut, I can't trust my instincts. I felt like it was part of that abuse that was my fault. And it was you in therapy, in prayer, that taught me that the abuse was his to own, and the journey beyond that was mine to own. And so after my breakup, which some of you all know about, I said, well, that's just it. I'm just horrible at relationships. And you were like, bitch, y'all were together for 10 years. Like, I don't think you're that bad at it. And as I really worked to be in my healing bag, I began to shake some of that off. And so Dave, makeup artist, asked me, he said, do you believe you only have one soulmate? And I said, I believe I have the greatest opportunity to love myself. And the more I love me, and the more I am in tune with me, that's when my person will come. My healed person, my supportive person, my powerful person, my helpmate, the one who is supposed to be my rider in life will come when I ride for myself the hardest. And so then I wrote for myself the hardest, and I got a Beyonce. She's been Beyonce.
Actually, you've been fiancé.
Oh yeah, that's right. She proposed to me. I've been Beyonce. So what it feels like is I was never bad at relationships. Maybe I wasn't the best at loving myself. And that's what I have to realize. What about you?
Wow. Oh, okay. Me. So this one is so interesting because in the context of I'll get to it, I promise. In the context of our relationship and the podcast, right, there's a lot of people have shared their opinion, which I deeply am grateful for, about how conservative I am in my life, right? And I think it's so funny because perspective and our worlds are also siloed.
Yes.
And in the places where I grew and in the family that I grew up in, I never really played it safe compared to people I was around. And I would always ask the questions. I was always kind of trying to understand why I didn't fit in or something was unjust. And in this phase of my life, to achieve these things that I just absolutely never thought would ever be possible. I mean, I couldn't have imagined this day in my wildest dreams. I've had to let go of all of those expectations that were never for me. And while that is deeply liberating, it's also really, really scary. So it's still happening. Still trying to dream big.
You were still dreaming big as we drill down, and you were still working past the fears. Okay, because do you want to tell them how you got me high in New York? On a street corner, in your hotel bag.
So this is what I mean, right? So it's like, oh, Margo's so conservative, Margo's so conservative, right? Like, I just entertain myself differently. And I found, okay, so in July,
What had happened was,
my husband and I took 2 nights away and we went to Provincetown on the Cape. We live in Boston. And we got off the ferry. I'm not a big drinker anymore. Big age. I don't sleep. And there was this woman-owned, LGBTQIA-owned, veteran-owned cannabis store.
so bitch, you had to go in there.
It's like, I need to consider this.
That's inclusivity in dispensary.
And I go in and they're like, what are you here for today? And I was like, my libido. But I've been practicing.
I'm proud of you that you owned that when you walked in.
I just said it.
You're like, I want to have more sex, please.
I just, here we go. Yeah. I mean, it's not a big deal. If you work at a cannabis store, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people
You've heard it,
right?
for sure.
And so like, oh, they're like this one. So, and my husband, God bless him, who like is just, I mean, doesn't really care about anything. Was like, oh yeah, sure. But he doesn't partake. So for like 72, I mean, what's 3 days and 2 nights? I don't know. A long time. I just nibbled on those edibles.
You was bloated.
And I was like, wow, is this how people feel?
Yes, yes, yes. And so, who said So I brought that up because that was the moment that I was like, dream big, Margo. We're gonna have a major motion picture. I said, oh, I figured it out. We're just the best at everything. And I was like, do you feel something? Do you feel different? And he was like, bitch, you're high.
But it was like, I mean, I have ADHD, I'm kind of all over the place. And so I was like following Tashira. I was like, okay, documentary, okay, yep. What are you talking about? She's like, you just need to dream bigger. Dream bigger. Dream bigger. I was like, I am dreaming big, but like, what are you talking about?
I can't go no bigger, I'm trying. So here we are today, dreaming big.
And And that moment was also after we saw this
When we
space.
saw this space, amen. So everything came full circle for us, and now we're going to talk to Angela about what it means to dream big.
Absolutely.
Hi, Angela. So, thank you for coming.
So this is the amazing Angela Dotson. I'm going to read her bio because I know when I read it, everyone's going to have a lot of questions for you. But we're going to ask them first, and then if there's time, we might open it up. So Angela has over 15 years of executive luxury retail experience. Most recently, she served as the Vice President of Client and Business Development for a little-known company called Chanel, where she had a 15-year tenure. She has a successful formula and proven track record for building and maintaining business at the heart of organizations while gaining exponential financial returns. She has built extraordinary relationships with high net worth clients globally. Angela attended San Diego State University and is a current executive member of the FIT Couture Council. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is my first podcast.
Well, just you wait, and you're gonna baptize me today. So we're a little bit different than other podcasts for lots of reasons. One, we are video and audio because we love fashion. That's mainly the only reason. And we like dressing up. But let's get into it.
Let's do it. So, actually, we wanted to ask you a question that's not here, but I promise you it's not going to be hard. I know you've prepped. When was the last time you had to overcome a fear?
Oh, I was really hoping you weren't going to ask me that question. I was listening intently. I think we have to overcome a fear every day of our lives. Something comes up. You know, everything is so unseen. Even with all the technology in front of us, we just don't know what's going to come out of the air every day. So there's lots of surprises, and as the world continues to change and continues to evolve, there are more things coming out and about. You know, I have a daughter that's in college, and my kid decided she didn't want to go to school in the U.S. So she just said, I'm going to school in Spain. How can you go to school so far away from me? What are you thinking, you know? And I'm really so far away from what she's doing that, you know, in the middle of the night I get a WhatsApp from her, and she was at some wild, crazy DJ party because she loves anything and everything about DJing, and in Madrid. And I thought she was going to some little club thing, and I looked at the picture, and it was like some wild, crazy thing, and I thought, I'm scared to death. And at the same time, when I was her age, I would have been right there too. So there you go.
So that's so interesting that you say that, Angela, because I also went to school in Spain.
Where?
In Barcelona.
Oh,
When I was in high school. And I was very far away from my family, and I was very afraid. And it was, without a doubt, the best experience and most formative experience of my life.
oh, I'm so proud.
Yeah, and you're such a good mom for supporting her in doing that.
Well, thank you. It's, you know, it takes a lot now to raise kids, and you have to have a lot of trust. I'm not the type of parent that watches their social media. I don't do any of that. I trust blindly. And there's some fear that comes with that too. But you have to respect it's their life, and you have to let them build their lives. And I figured, you know what? And by the way, 15 years, haha, on the bio, it's 40 years. I just had my 40th year anniversary in the industry. But you know, you say 15, so everybody thinks you're a lot younger. It's true, it's true. But, you know, I mean, our parents had to trust us. For those of us that there was no social media, our parents, or maybe they didn't, but they didn't tell us, but they had to lead blindly too. And I guess I have to. And as she came home this summer, after her first year, I realized she's her own person. And let me tell you, you want to be humbled? Have a teenager in your life that's gone away to college, because when they step away so far and then come back, it's a whole different perspective about you, your family, your career, everything, and it's quite extraordinary. Sometimes a little shocking, but I think it gives you good perspective on what's really going on, for sure.
So tell us about, you mentioned in your career over this 40-year span, tell us more about how you got here, what you do day-to-day at FASHIONPHILE. We're all fashion lovers. Some of us work in the industry or want to be a part of it. Tell us your story.
Well, everything's accidental, so nothing's planned, because I'm not a good clairvoyant. So I had been at Chanel for 15 and a half years, and I had made a very big decision that it was time for me to go and do something different. I was in my early 50s, and it was just time. I had traveled the whole world, and my child was entering into high school at the time, and I thought, you know, this was going to be really interesting, because she was 13, and it's like, she would say to me things like, it's weird, this is going to be weird. You haven't been around for 13 years, you've been on airplanes. But I was very lucky. My mother, who just passed last November, my mother had lived with me and helped me raise my daughter. So when it comes down to careers and building careers and being successful and all that, if you've got a parent that comes in and helps you out, because my mother was independent in her career, and she understood that and was an incredible support to me, and I will always, always be so thankful for my mother for that. But now it was my turn to pivot. And I thought, well, I could consult, right? And that would give me some freedom. And I did that after a year, because I had a very long non-compete. I had to sit out. I couldn't go to work for anybody. I couldn't go to work for L'Oreal. I couldn't go to work for Coach.
So I know there are at least a couple other lawyers in the room, and non-competes are problematic.
Yes, but I don't think they are anymore. I think mine was the generation of, you're signing this in stone, and you're giving us our word. But at any rate, so I sat out, which was good for me, because it gave me some different perspective, it gave me some time with my kid. And then I consulted, and then COVID came. And all those consulting contracts, you know what they did? They all dried up. Yeah. Because all the companies I was consulting for, guess what? They were furloughing their own people, so they certainly weren't going to keep the consultants on the payroll. So I would have friends that we would have Wednesday walks. They would be walking in the city, I would be walking up in Westchester, and we would get on the phone with each other. And we would try to keep everybody positive about going back to work. And my friend calls me on a Wednesday and she says, I interviewed for a job, but I didn't get it. And I said, oh, Mary, I'm so sorry. And Mary's like, no. She's like, it's fine. She says, I decided to be brave and ask them, why didn't I get the job? And when they gave me the description of who they were looking for, I said, oh, you're looking for my friend Angela. Wow. The power of your girlfriends is amazing. I got the call the next day, literally, and it was for Bowling. It was to run their flagship on Fifth Avenue. And when they called me, I said, I just want to let you know, I haven't ran a store in 20 years. Are you really sure that you want me? You know, because I've been in corporate all this time. And they said, yeah, we want somebody who can be really independent, build the business back and everything. And I went back and forth with my husband, saying, I don't know if I should do this. And my husband said to me, he goes, I want to say something to you. You were always happiest when you went into a store and you were surrounded by people. It's COVID. There's nobody to talk to. You're sitting at home, you've organized every drawer ad nauseum, because you're driving everybody else in the house crazy. Go, please, go, take this job. And so I did, and it was really interesting because I started in August of 2020, and I remember being dressed up for work and being the only person on the streets in New York City in a pair of high heels. It was me and the construction workers. They weren't in high heels. At any rate. And so I went back to work, and I worked with a team of people, and it was the most humbling experience of my life. Because trying to connect with people during COVID, when everybody had a mask on, I was all about connecting with people, you know, having a moment. I can't tell your expression. I don't know if you're happy, I don't know if you're sad, I don't know if you're loving, if you're not. It was really interesting to me. Also, working with a group of people when they're the only people that are coming to work. They don't have an option to sit home. That's not there. And their responsibility about staying well so they could work and we could keep the business going. And little by little, we rebuilt it. And it was an incredible experience. I love that company. I really do. But after 2 years, I got the call to come here. And it was a really hard decision. But I wanted to go back to a more senior role again. And this is a really big part of the future. It's sustainability. And I thought I understood it, but I can tell you until I got here, I really didn't. It's extraordinary what happens on this side of fashion. If you were to go into our cage, where there's 22,000 units, and walk all the collections, the years and years of runways of Chanel bags and everything, it really puts into perspective how much people have consumed. And how much of it I was responsible for getting out the door. My goodness. And so where is it all supposed to go? Where is it supposed to be? Well, it should go back into society. It should be somebody else's new story to tell. Those handbags back there must have great stories of wonderful parties they've been to, great vacations they've been on, memorable moments of weddings and milestones. But it's time for them to tell their story again to somebody else. And there's something really extraordinary about that. And there's just something that really gets me out of bed every day. And it's just, what's that? It's exciting. It's exciting to watch. It's exciting to watch all the new generations come in and see the younger people, their faces light up because it's something that I knew I wanted back in the 80s. They're just as excited about that piece as I was. So, by the way, it costs a little more now. But at any rate, it's a fascinating world. It's wonderful to see that things can go back into the world and have a new life and tell a new story and bring joy to somebody and be coveted again. And it doesn't go to waste. It doesn't go to a landfill. It doesn't go to bad places. It's just something that keeps going. And, I work for an amazing woman, Sarah Davis, the founder of this organization. We just clicked from the first moment. And my rhythm with her, and I mean rhythm, the energy that we feed from each other is amazing. And, she would have been here today, but she's doing a 200-mile bike race today.
Just something small, not major.
Just something small, yeah, good.
Very minor.
Very minor. And this is her lifeline. It's this company is in her blood, 25 years. So it's incredible to wake up every day and work with individuals like that. So I feel very blessed to be here.
I was thinking, as we were, planning to come, that FASHIONPHILE and what we're trying to do, specifically your job, you have the dream job, right? Because you're doing well and you're doing good, as we like to say, right? You're doing something that's really important for the world, which is consigning and not adding to overconsumption, waste, all of the things, fast fashion, all of the things that we think about a lot, particularly as fashion lovers. And you're like such a badass.
At the same time. So, and part of being a badass,
Who have you been talking to?
I mean, just you. This gets me to the next question. When we were in the back room, Tashira came and she's like, did you see Angela? I was like, she's so beautiful and well put together. And oh my God. And so this gets us to our next question. Like how? What are your self-care practices? How do you put yourself together like this every day?
because you're taking it, honey.
Well, first of all, thank you. That's a wonderful compliment. Self-care for all of us is really hard. Let's be honest about that. There's not a lot of
very
time.
hard.
You can go on social media and you can see people going and doing fabulous things for themselves. It takes a lot of money, it takes a lot of time. I will tell you, I'm not the best at self-care. I'm really good, as was my grandmother and my mother, about having a weekly hair appointment done. Going and getting a blow dry, it clears your brain too, it's just amazing. I think Botox is the best invention, and I started it in my 30s. So I can tell you it doesn't do any harm because that's a long time ago. I'm not into fillers or anything like that. I weigh myself regularly. I like to eat. I don't think you should deny yourself anything, but just make sure that you're balancing it with healthy too. I try to just stay as balanced as possible, and I think one of the best things you can do for yourself sometimes is just be quiet. Quiet is so underrated. It's just amazing. So I think being quiet sometimes replenishes the soul.
I know everyone is so excited to continue to party and mingle and to shop, and just know that there's so much, when you said yes, actually, there's so much more than what is actually here. So we will have iPads for you all so you can, ensure, look at this jam, hey girl. So you can ensure that you get into everything that FASHIONPHILE has to offer. But we have a couple more questions for you, Angela. What advice would you give to your younger self, knowing what you know now? Because that quiet piece was just like a bomb dropped on all of us. What advice would you give?
You can't see the future. I know a lot of people like to plan. You have to be open to the plans not working out sometimes, because they really don't. I had a first marriage, didn't work. A second marriage, thankfully, that did work, and I have a child with my second husband. So there are some things that you just don't know what the world has in store with you. So don't be angry when things don't work out the way that they're supposed to do. When I was younger, I was very much like, I'm just going to make this happen. I'm just going to make this happen. Sometimes you can't make it happen. Sometimes. And I would say that there's a reverse in that. And the reverse is, I find myself now trying to go back to when I was young and tap into my younger self, because I need that energy. I need that curiosity and confidence. Sometimes you have great confidence when you're younger. You're not afraid to fall. You're not afraid to fail. And so I would tell you, a lot of times I like to just think of myself as that young person. I won't look in the mirror so I don't know, but I like to think about that person that I was, always so energetic and ready to go and so if I feel a little tired or whatever, I think, now come on, I was never like that before. You can find it and you dig deep and go back to that. So I think you can learn from being older and, somewhat wiser sometimes, maybe not all the time. And also just going back to your younger self, enjoy some of that. It's okay.
Can I ask the next question?
Yeah.
What? Okay, so there's two questions and I'm just gonna ask. What's your favorite bag?
Corey, I brought it. You have my bag.
This is the best show and tell ever.
We all three are going to get those days.
Okay, wait, I need
It's
some.
Celine. It's Celine.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's just a Celine bag.
This was just to fake you all. And you're wondering, why is it in bubble wrap, right?
Yep.
Because if it fell on the cement floors here, it'd be all over. So this bag turned 20 years old this year.
Oh my God.
So you all know where I was 20 years ago. It's not like Anticipation's killing me.
Oh, but it's worth the wait. I already see what's coming out here. Chanel Cruise 2004.
And I think the original question is has your favorite bag changed? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Is it fabulous?
It's Musa.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's very fragile.
I'm using
It
a
about
breathe on
once a
it.
year.
So where do you wear it?
I'll wear it to a black tie event, if I'm lucky enough to be invited to one.
I know, I have so many questions but we have to wrap it up right. That's beautiful, thank you for sharing. Why don't we do more show and tell?
I know. It can be your
Do you
favorite
remember
thing.
that?
Listen, Margo, next episode, bring your favorite olive oil. And if Celine does that, throw them off.
You don't have to ask me twice.
Okay, I'm just saying, y'all stay tuned.
Would you ever take a shot of olive oil?
Margo, I'm not doing that. And I told you to stop this shit. I'm not doing that. I took a shot of tequila and you have a shot of olive oil.
We should do it on the next episode.
We should have had the tequila before this episode.
So once again, thank you, Angela,
Yes, thank you.
for your wisdom.
Thank you for coming down here and seeing us and who we are and our little, it's kind of a speakeasy here. We're so hidden and we can just get you anything your heart ever desired. We just have the ability to do that and that's what makes FASHIONPHILE.
Okay.
And we want it all. So you all enjoy. If you have appreciated the podcast today, we would love if you become supporters. If you also like this live event format, let us know. We are more than happy to Thanks for listening to justUS. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to learn more about our podcast, be sure to check us out on our website at justuspodcast.com. You can also reach out to us there if you want to be featured on the show or if you have a business or a product that you think would be a good fit for our audience. Thanks again for listening.